This is the comparison. We're trying. Test. Test, test. Test, test. Okay, that shouldn't be happening. Test, test. Test, test. 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 Test, test. Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. Does anyone from Adelaide Roller Derby know how to work the tech? Anyone know how, or is anyone like a tech guy? To fix the microphones. Not this one. This one works just fine. Test, test. Point is about pointing at this. It might be a battery issue. We're having some battery issues. Test, test. Test, test. This one's fine. This one continues to be fine even when I point it in different directions. Okay, that's good. Hello.
All right, so we're going to introduce ourselves again because our microphones weren't on, but I'm Chief Intent.
And I'm Pavey.
And we're here to commentate Brisbane City Rollers and Perth Roller Derby League in what's set it to be a fantastic match here.
Yeah, today I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, so that is the Ghana people, where the actual roller derby is being played today at the Great Southern Slam. These people we would like to respect, and the Tor Islanders people as well in their community.
Well, BCR have played a great game earlier on today.
They have. They played me.
They did play you, just you. It was just you out there playing
Just
BCR.
me, just cutting
It's an
some
epic
laps.
battle, and Pavey won. But they're coming back now, and we're going to see how they're going to go against Perth now.
Yeah, I believe this is Perth's first game of the
Right.
day. So they've had all day to be able to have a snack, have a really big lunch.
And watch BCR play a little earlier, so they've probably got a little bit of an upper hand in knowing what they're up against, which is all fantastic stuff. Give us a yell out there if you're in the comments section of the video, because we can read them, and we're out here for you guys, so you might as well let us know what you think or what you want to see more of. Not that we have any control over the cameras, so we can't exactly do anything about that, but it's nice to know you're unhappy with something, if you do have an issue with something.
Or if you just want to say hi, you just want to give us a bit of a wave and
Exactly.
see what's happening.
Tell us where in the world you are, and see, maybe we'll gather a collection of people from all around. But we are straight off into this, Pavey.
Well, we've already started running, so it looks like Perth have taken the early lead, and they're already coming onto the straightaway. And we have number 112, Fatality,
yeah.
who's already taken the lead. It looks like the Brisbane City Jammer is still having a little bit of a hard time at the front.
Just managed to break through the pack there. Fatality now looking to put some points on the board.
It looks like there's a lot of excitement going on. Everyone's getting a little bit handsy.
They're excited to be here. I think they. Looks like Brisbane City Roller are wearing a different colour shirt to what they were wearing earlier. If you're a bit confused, they're wearing the black, and the white is Perth Roller Derby. random technology speaking at us over here.
It's just ourselves talking to each other. Jeepers. All right, so we've already got the second jam up and running, and the whistle is about to go. Please acknowledge our officials today. We've got some fabulous officials out there who've been working hard all day to be able to get us to this action.
And that is the Namazoom, and they are absolutely spinning around this track, but right behind them is the Skatriarchy.
Oh, and there's our first apex jump of the game. Just zooming right through, that's Skatriarchy. They have had a killer day already today. Eager to get some more jumps and jukes in there.
Bodes well that the second jam in and we're already jumping the apex. If you've tuned into a great game, I think this is actually going to be an nail-biter.
Definitely means that they're pulling out all the stops and trying to use all of their tools to get variety. And that's the second jam right there. It looks like there's 8 points for Brisbane on that one and 4 points for Perth. It looks like we've now gone into a draw game already.
This is what you like to see, some neck-and-neck battles.
I'll be interested to see whether they want to hang out continually in that pivot line or whether they're going to change their strategies a little bit depending on how their energy levels go today.
Totally. Rocket Man on the line with 1-1-2 fatality on both jamming. Fatality's first, second jam, and Rocket Man's first.
Looks like we've got a lone Perth blocker there, just doing the best that they can.
It is hard when you're the only one out there.
I do like to feel like you've all of a sudden lost all your friends and you're just trying to find home.
Yeah. Fellas.
Fantastic work there by the Brisbane Jammer. That's an extra 4 points to go into the bank to pull them out into the lead.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Rocket Man earlier on playing against you guys. Really quite a versatile jammer, and I think she's going to do some really good stuff here against Perth.
I believe at halftime they even played Rocket Man the song.
We definitely played Rocket Man the song.
To just, pump them up a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, with a name like that, you can't ignore it. And we got Bad Reality here for BCR. And
then we've got number 86.
Namazoom.
There's a few pointing fingers and a cut track penalty on the outside there. It looks like that one's going to Perth.
Namazoom is making their way to the sin bin.
That's a great speed, though. I appreciate the intensity to go into the box.
Quicker in, quicker out. That's the way.
It does mean that now we've got a power jam for Brisbane. This is their chance to pull away a little bit. Looks like they're taking their time to just hold a goat at the back or a blocker at the back, as we would say, to try and make sure that Brisbane jammer can just push it out and muscle through. Looks like we've got the Perth jammer standing, and they're just about to be released back into the pack.
Good defensive work there by those three Perth blockers at the front, really managing to hold Bad Reality back and keep that point scoring down to a minimum.
Namazoom has taken the Panty Star off. They may be looking to pass.
Oh, sneaky around the outside.
And that was a great jam for Brisbane City, so that's an extra 8 points going into the piggy bank for them, pulling away a little bit further to generate that lead.
We're seeing a lot of strong interplay between these two teams. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a bit of a seesawing happening with these points today.
Yeah, just remember, if you're doing your hydration exercises at home, every time there's a lead change, make sure you drink.
Exactly. We don't want to turn anyone into alcoholics or anything out there, but it's good to hydrate.
No, always water, electrolytes,
yep.
Snacks. If you're into jelly beans and candy, could be
mandarin pieces.
Yes, eating healthy. Yep. It looks like here we've had a little bit of a stoppage. There's an official timeout going on, and looks like Perth is in there with the Brisbane team just having a little bit of a chat.
The refs definitely seem intent on something. They're listening in very closely.
It does look like this might turn into an official review by the Brisbane team. There is a lot of careful thought being put into that inner circle, a lot of feelings being shared, and a lot of hand gestures.
Yeah, some emphatic gesturing.
I do like to think that whenever the officials have a little time to themselves, they just want to, have a bit of a break, have a bit of a drink.
Yeah.
Think about their feelings.
Talk about the future.
Other people's feelings. You might notice during the particular venue that we're at, the tracks are actually next to each other. So we might see later on in the game when the skaters get a little bit tired what we call whistle bleed. This is when they might hear whistles from another track and think that it's theirs. So if someone's standing there going, is it on? Is it happening? They might be actually seeing that another particular game that's being played next door has actually had the jam call off and they're particularly loud. So just keep an eye out for that, particularly in the second half. You might see a few people stand up and go, what?
It's hard as a commentator as well because you hear all these whistles and and that's the jam. No, it's definitely not the jam.
No,
Something
jokes.
else is happening. Yeah, that's right. Just kidding. I was just checking if you were watching out there. It's not the jam. But a lot of whistles, a lot of crossover whistles.
We are very grateful to have the particular showgrounds here in Adelaide. It's so great to see so many different roller derby teams across Australia playing towards each other, and also some of the challenge bouts which you wouldn't be able to see at home. So we had I saw the Goths and the Rainbows play each other, and there was some excellent rainbow skirts.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, I believe the Rainbows.
Yes. They got all that rainbow power. What's the difference like as a skater playing on concrete than, say, playing on a wooden floor?
Oh, well, concrete, I guess there's a few things to think about. Like concrete, when you fall, it's going to be harder.
Right.
So you kind of just have to feel like you're going to instantly stop and fall over, whereas a wooden floor, you can kind of slide a little bit.
Right.
And that same thing sort of applies to your wheels as well. So when you're stopping, you'll take more of like a side motion when you're on a wooden floor, whereas this particular floor here is quite grippy, which kind of means what we call like a jammer floor. A lot of the jammers will be able to do more footwork, more jukes, and we're seeing that right now with the Perth team here, number 46. Jammy Dodger is doing some great footwork there to be able to drive through the wall.
And because it's that extra bit of grippy, they can just spring into whatever formation they're about to go into next, I guess.
Gives us great opportunity for lots of apex jumps, lots of ducks.
Yeah, I'm already seeing a lot of apex jumps, and this is just the first day, so if you're into them and that's on your bingo card, make sure that you strike that off. We've already got one already today.
That's right. Next thing we need is one of those hip turnaround on the outside while looking fabulous with the hair flip.
And calling it off at the same time.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. That's like the middle of the bingo card.
That's exactly right. And Rocket Man for BCR. I think we've got a jammer power start.
No, we've got one Brisbane City blocker into the penalty box. The Perth jammer has just come out, and unfortunately they've just received a cutting the track penalty on the outside. They may not have noticed.
I didn't notice until the end. Most of the way around the track before they realised that it was sin bin for them.
Yeah, it is quite loud in this particular venue, so it wouldn't be uncommon for something like that to happen. They do need to be careful, though, because if they take too long and they kind of look like they are eyeing up the ref, they may get an insubordination penalty.
Yep.
And that's probably the most embarrassing penalty you can get. I really, not my favourite.
No, it doesn't seem like a nice one to get. You weren't listening, you're out. Oh, no, honestly, I'm all right. I'll do what you say.
I just fell over and I couldn't get up.
I wasn't being defiant, I promise.
All right, and while we were so distracted, the Perth jammer has already come out of the box, which means that we will be able to start with a clean slate. It looks like we might have one blocker on each team in the penalty box there.
It's nice to have even numbers. There are two skaters in there for Perth.
It is a little bit hard to see from our position exactly what's happening. We've got great view of the Perth bench here.
That's exactly right. If anyone wants to know anything about the Perth bench, we'll let you know.
It does look like Perth are gearing up while we talk about the bench for a timeout. So we might be able to get the gossip.
We got the inside skinny. They're saying, go out there, win. You can do this. We believe in you.
Yeah, it's definitely time for a pep talk if I was Perth. They had a great start. And then it looks like Brisbane has kind of pulled away, particularly with those jammer penalties, but also with their particular starts. It looks like Perth's jammers are driving forward without getting that extra help or without being able to juke out that back wall to drive forward.
Yeah.
This is a great time to just spend a moment to acknowledge our officiating crew. They've been here all day alongside us as well.
They're the hardest working people here, I think. You know, I mean, I talk to some skaters and they're like, oh, I've got 3 or 4 games on. And then you talk to the refs and they're like, oh, I've got 14 straight games. And you're like,
no
far
rest.
out.
Just snacks.
Just snacks.
No meals.
Yeah, I've got a secret compartment in my helmet with snacks in it.
And the timeout has been wrapped up. Let's see how this pep talk for Perth has gone, whether they'll be able to get Namazoom further out into that lead position.
Namazoom and
it's
reality.
A false start. And that was just kidding, folks. just
kidding,
lols.
folks.
JK LOL. There is also a running side game that you may or may not be aware of. The official Williams skate spare has notoriously fallen over at least once every game that they've played. So keep an eye out for him. He's in the inside pack to see if we can get him to fall over before the end of this game.
Is there betting pools? Like, is it like a third quarter, $50 on a third quarter sort of a deal?
I can't say I've ever thought that far ahead. And the jam has started. Brisbane has started to take out the lead, but I do appreciate the enthusiasm that Namazoon's taking. The Brisbane jammer Bad Reality is already going into their second pass, doing a great little turn on that inside line. If you've got spins on your bingo card, that's the time to tick that off.
That's right. Bad Reality, quite an effective jammer in her earlier games as well. She's on high rotation in their pool, so we'll probably see a lot more of her as the game progresses.
Yeah, it was great to chat with her on the track as well. She just looked like she was just having a great time. She just wanted to be there to play derby. She just wanted to skate around, hit some people, run away, that sort of thing, you know?
And I think that's what's good for this weekend is everyone's sort of coming together into the one love of roller derby and being able to see old friends and you make new friends. It's always a good adventure, the old TGSS.
Yeah, we're all here for team fun. Team
That's
fun
exactly
wins
right.
at the end of the day. And Fatality has already started to take lead, just like that. Well
and the
done,
Perth
Faye.
crowd goes wild over in the corner there.
And Skatriaki is pushing very hard there against that 4-wall. Looks like Perth has decided to go for a solid defense. They're really driving through to get out. That was a tough slog, that one.
Skatriaki is a relentless skater.
Looks like Faye is considering it and is executing the call-off with the traditional tap really fast on the hips method.
That's right. The faster you tap, the quicker they call it off. Like tapping the button on a crosswalk.
Well,
like if I press it 45,000 times, I'm going to get to walk here.
Well, I still don't really know whether if you tap it more times, you get priority.
I don't think you do.
Okay.
There are some that aren't even wired up.
So even if you press it, they
doesn't make a difference.
It's
just on a timer rotation. Yeah, exactly. I think they just do it to keep the people happy when they're at the thing, so they've got something to do.
And we're already off to be able to execute another jam, and Brisbane has taken the lead.
Where did Rocket Man come from? Just out of nowhere and shot through there, and now lead jam and back to put some points on the board for BCR. No pack call, getting brought all the way back in there.
It does look like there's been a bit of a skerfuffle, a few fingers being pointed by the referee crew there. Looks like they've got a Perth jammer in the box. There's a little bit of madness going on for a moment there. Yeah, so we have 2 Brisbane blockers sitting in the box, which means that Perth have a great opportunity here to take lead quickly and start to get those points up. I definitely feel with those down starts, we've got heaps of time to be able to just go really fast, because the more time that those 2 blockers are in the box, the more laps you can do.
Well, exactly, and you've got to seize the moment when you've got the upper hand.
And they are relying on 86 Namazoom to be able to cut the laps. Does look like they're very capable of cutting laps right now, hooning across the line.
Oh, some fancy footwork, but not fancy enough. Gets nudged on the inside and calls it off.
And we're starting a wash. We're going to start this whole thing again, but this time with the blockers standing.
Well, keeping a bad reality to 0 score was nice and tight.
This time we're going to have fatality to give the same situation a go and see what they can do.
Yep. And Skatriarchy is joining the German line as well.
The Perth 3-wall is really trying to lock down on the back there to hold Skatriarchy. Let's see if they can push that out.
Well, I found even when you guys were playing BCR earlier on today, Skatriarchy changed up their strategy throughout the game and was really dynamic and versatile in their strategy of how they attacked your packs.
Yeah, they did a great job of being able to realise that something wasn't working against a person and then change it.
That's right.
And that's something that particularly in roller derby is really valuable, because we have like this saying which is called like be original.
Yep.
If you repeat the same thing more than 3 or 4 times, people will get it.
Yeah.
And they'll know that, Pavey always takes the inside line.
Yep.
So like just sit on the inside line and Pavey will just run up to you and go, I'm stuck.
Yeah, that's my only move.
So the more like tricks and tools that you have in your tool belt, the more you'll be able to pull out in games like these confidently.
Absolutely.
That's an old Pavey trick for today.
Top tips. Top tips with Pavey. Don't stick to the inside line or you'll get stuck there.
And the crowd goes wild for Jamie Dodger, who is just hoofing it to be able to get back after the turn 1.
Oh, nice.
And that's some great juke work to be able to also bring that 2-wall further to the outside line, giving them lots of space on the inside to move around.
Jamie Dodger, 4 points on the board. Real crowd favourite out there.
She does look a little bit terrified.
She does have a little look terrified about her.
I mean, there are those moments when you're jamming and you go, oh, it's me. Oh, okay.
Oh, hang on. Those blockers are getting awfully quick and awfully
all of them
close.
are looking at me.
Yeah,
all of
right.
them want to hit me.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's worthwhile acknowledging that all of these jammers basically have 4 people trying to get them.
That's right. Targets on their back.
Jamie is still pushing on.
Jamie's trying to get some more points. She's put some points on the board, already sitting on 8 so far. This is exactly what they needed if they're going to close that gap.
Yeah, it does start to give a bit more drive and enthusiasm to the Perth team.
Jamie just keeps going.
They've got 20 feet, potentially 5 more. Let's see whether the Brisbane are going to drop one. Oh, and it's back up to a 3-wall. Even the jam ref is looking at what's going on inside that 3-wall.
Rocketman also not having much luck with that Perth 3-wall. It is landed the blockers out there and there's no movement happening.
We've just had one Perth skater return back. We'll see whether that makes any difference, and it looks like the jam is going to call out at a wash.
4 points. 4 to 12, that's good. Good start. Now only 12 points the difference. Very manageable.
Yeah, it does definitely sound like this is going to be more a very close game up and down throughout the rest of the session.
Well, they both want it, and you can see it. And Perth came out strong at the start, and BCR then sort of started taking a bit of a stronger hand in the game. And it looks like Perth has sort of had a bit of a chat and come back out going, right, we need to get back on top here.
Does look like a Brisbane blocker is about to go to the box, yes, for a multiplayer penalty. That will mean that Perth have the advantage but don't have the lead. Here we can see Skate Spear hasn't not fallen over yet. We'll see if this is the jam for that moment.
So if you had your money on in the first 10 minutes, you've just lost $20.
But keep your drink ready.
That's right, that's right. You could be recovering some of this after all.
Bad reality is really driving that wall for Perth. Really pushing out that last line of defence. It looks like a side dance with hands and arms.
Just Storm in the way, and Storm doing great work to reconnect, but perhaps now too far away. Being told to let her pass, and has done.
And Bad Reality really had to push on for a long time to be able to drive out that wall. Perth gave them a run for their money.
She definitely didn't get a free pass through that last pass.
Yeah, this is the moment where Bad Reality is grateful that they're able to get out pretty close.
Number 2, Bloody Laces. Bloody Laces just single-handedly stopped number 86. Namazoom, dead in their tracks.
And what a jam that was. There was a lot of statement hits going on, particularly around that last 15, 20 seconds of the game. Yep. Be interesting to see how that goes energy-wise in the end of this first half.
Yeah, there would have been a lot of energy expended in that jam there. Some strong pushing of 3 walls and just moving around like a group of blockers inch by inch around the track.
And you start to see which team is going to end up with more energy the closer we get to the second half of the game. Because that's when you start to see what penalties are just silly mistakes or particular actions that are just, I should have locked in or I should have sat down harder to be able to execute that block.
Yeah, and it would have a cumulative effect as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you get up to 7, that's it.
Yeah.
You go home, you pack your stuff, and you go back to your hotel, your Airbnb, and you think about what you've done. So
that's right, and you're not happy about it. I tell you what, getting fouled out at TGSS is not the way you want to leave.
Look, it's not. You don't get any badges, no medals. It might be on your bingo card.
That's right. So you get a drink, one consolation drink.
And we've just had a 4-0 jam.
If you win.
What?
You get your medal taken away from you if you foul out in a match where you win.
Really?
I don't know.
That's never happened to me.
I don't know.
No, that's never happened.
I was asking you. I never get any medals. I just sit up there and waffle on.
Oh, well, maybe we need to give the announcers and the commentators medals.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
More medals for commentators.com.
You do a great job, you get a gold star.
That's right. At least a sticker. Rocket Man trying to push through these back 3 Perth blockers. Perth doing a really good job of maintaining that defensive wall.
And Rocket Man has managed to get one of the Perth blockers in the box. Will that help them?
Again, Storm, 313 being a back marker and setting the pace. She's come out.
That was an interesting hit out, and we've still got another Brisbane blocker on the floor. That's Kimbo Kaze there.
Very gingerly coming off there, 313, Kimikaze.
Yeah, so the jam will be called dead for that particular injury. Now is the time to actually consider how the dynamics of both of the teams are going. It does look like the intensity has changed. Perth have started to lock down a little bit more, but Brisbane have started to get into a bit of penalty trouble.
Yeah. It's definitely heating up out there. Both these two teams are engaged with play-by-play, so neither one of these teams sort of phoning it in at the moment.
So I believe we've got if my math is correct, 7 plus 1, that's 8.
18.
That's 18. That's an 18-point differential.
You are so good at math.
Look, you break it down into little pieces and then you add it up.
Yep.
I'm sure Perth and Brisbane are both excited to even just have a trip to Adelaide. I mean, all of us feel very privileged to be able to go interstate and to travel interstate. It's been a challenge to get to this point for all of us collectively.
Oh, exactly. I mean, roller derby in Australia stopped for over a year. Even that we've got roller derby on again is a privilege. And to be able to come together like this from all over Australia, I think everyone just feels lucky to be here and be able to be part of this again. Of course, last TGSS was cancelled in 2020, and it was sorely missed, I think, by a lot of people who really love TGSS as a whole.
Yeah, I think a lot of us don't realise how important tournaments like these are for the Australian roller derby community, and even over in New Zealand and in the Pacific. These tournaments give a lot of opportunities to multiple different leagues to play all sorts of games, 3-4 games on a weekend that they otherwise just would never have.
And it just shortens that barrier between communities, you know, like roller derby people roller derby people, regardless of where they live in Australia, And so bringing everyone together just makes you feel like there's a whole lot more of you than you thought there might have been, and it's really heartwarming.
Yeah, it is. I remember my first TGSS was going back a while, but I was actually with Brisbane City at the time,
right.
over in Wellington. So we flew over. It was my first big, international trip playing roller derby. I thought I was the best. It was great. I was wearing purple and orange, and we didn't win all of our games. We were in Division 2. But I just remember being able to see those high-level games and see roller derby happening everywhere across multiple tracks, and that was just so exciting.
Yeah, it was 5 tracks back in those days.
Yes.
And lots of people, and it was just roller derby everywhere. It was like a little wonderland, for people who might live in a small little town, and derby's great and has a really strong community support. But you come together and like all these pockets have come together from all over Australia, and it's really heartwarming to see.
And so all those leagues out there that maybe you've only got 4 or 5 bouting skaters, and you're having a few new people come up and learn how to skate, how to play roller derby. I mean, I definitely encourage you to keep pushing hard for that and bring yourself together, because it's not just about the games, it's about the community together for us to be able to do things like this.
Absolutely, and I mean, don't sit there thinking, our league's not good enough to compete in this level. Everyone plays from all over, different skill sets, and everyone comes out of it having learned so much more than they went into understanding.
And you never know what you might learn just by sitting there, showing up, watching other people, watching Pavey fall over multiple times.
Yep, you learn a lot. You learn that she takes the inside line.
Every time.
Every time. So it keeps falling over.
And while we've already started, Bad Reality has already gotten a lead, and she's taking turn 2.
But she's not alone out there. Number 112, Fatality, it's close on her heels.
It does look like they like the matchup between Faye and Reality. They do seem to be facing each other quite regularly.
Yep, on the same rotation.
We do have a clear box, so we will be starting this out fresh. Everyone's back out again, all fresh and new, ready to go.
And look, that Namazon and the Skatriarchy are skating against each other, and I think we're seeing this match up again as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this dynamic because their styles are both a little bit different. Skatriarchy goes for more the smashy, drivey kind of approach, whereas Namazon jukes around each of the blockers. It's really interesting to see them together and how they adjust to that gameplay.
Well, both very effective jammers in their own right, but you're right, they're very different in their style and approach. And it's very heated out there.
Yeah, well, we've already hit the 20-second mark, and we don't have a lead jammer yet.
No.
And it looks like even both four walls have swapped places. It'll be interesting to see whether Skatriarchy can drive out that last line, and they can. Adjusting the helmet, checking all the bits are in the right place.
I find that if Skatriarchy can get down to just one blocker left, then they're usually going to punch through. Enough sort of force and strength to sort of get round the lone blocker at the end.
Yeah, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, though. There's always going to be that sneaky person that runs up, or that wall drives up and then instantly you've got more space. There's nothing more disappointing than when you've past a wall and then you've got that person at the end and they just hit you out.
Everyone joins them back in again and straight back behind the wall.
And Skatriarchy looks like they're ready to have a drink.
Yep.
And they are.
Some halftime oranges.
If you want to have a drink with Skatriarchy, now is a great time.
Exactly.
Perth do look like they're trying to come back together and really solidify those walls. They're really focused on making sure that they can make that difference as tight as possible. Points differential is important for this particular game. Depending on their points differential will determine who they will likely play on the Monday.
Right. I've been wondering how the pools work.
Yeah.
That last jam, such a hard-fought jam, and only 4 points actually went to anyone. And so every one of these points are being really earned and really sort of gone through and sort of fought for. So looking at the scores now, it's quite a low-scoring sort of game, but it's very encouraging to see how much both these two teams are really earning every single point.
And it does look like Jamie Dodger has gone to the penalty box as the jammer, so that means that we do have a power jam to Brisbane.
Was there a star pass? No.
No, there was a star stash. So the Jamie Dodger did take the star panty off during the initial pass and was not able to pass the star, and instead is going to have a little bit of a think about what they want to do in the next jam.
Yeah, some contemplation.
It does mean that Rocket Man has called it off, and we're now going to start with a power jam start for Brisbane. I'll be interested to see how they want to set up to be able to get their jammer out as quickly as possible. And Bad Reality will be taking this power jam start.
Having a start with Bad Reality on the jammer line by herself is not what Perth want at this stage. Hopefully it won't be too long before here she comes, Jamie Dodger coming back out onto the track.
And is already very furiously driving against that wall. She has taken no prisoners to be able to drive forward to get that out.
That's right, but now we do have a no pass.
We have a no pass, no penalty there for Bad Reality. So that means that the lead jammer position is still open if Jamie can take that.
Well, now, of course, there's nothing holding Bad Reality back. Just got to get those points on before Jamie Dodger gets through that pack and is able to call it off.
Yeah, this is the moment where I kind of clenched my hands a little bit saying, don't take the panty off. Whatever you do, don't take it off. It's always very tempting when you're not having success for those longer jams to take the star off and give it to someone else. You're like, yeah, you have this job. You take this job.
Yeah, that's right. It's too hard. I can't do it. Not me. Not now. Not right now.
Oh, and the star has been taken off. I spoke about it too many times.
Oh, no.
We'll see whether there is a star pass happening. There is still 50 seconds left in this jam, which means that we are going for the full 50 seconds. Jamie looks like they're ready to...
It must be demoralising to be in that position where all you got to do is get through the front and you're just having no luck. You know, you can attack a three wall like 4 or 5 different ways, and you just must feel a bit defeated. You know, I see why they want to pass the star. They're like, it's just not happening for me right now.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where you kind of have to think about your micro goals or your smaller goals. I just want to pass this one person, or I just want to go 10 feet. Another pavey tip for you there.
Yeah.
To be able to manage that. Break it down, small, manageable chunks.
Journey of 1,000 steps starts with one at a time.
That's right. If you're thinking about the 2 minutes and the 4 people, you're going to have a little cry in your hands.
Yep.
And it does look like that jam has been called dead by Brisbane. I'm interested to see, we've got one Perth blocker in the box. We do have the Perth jammer back returning to the bench. So we're interesting to see how Perth changes their momentum here, see if whether they can drive some enthusiasm and encouragement to push them closer to that almost 50-point differential.
Yeah, it is. They're starting to edge away just a little bit here now, BCR, and Perth's going to want to consolidate and sort of get back onto that level where they were neck and neck with BCR jam for jam, and I think it's been a little slip just recently, and the points are starting to sort of mass up against them, so they've got to lock it down, get back on top.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes left on the game clock. This is normally the time where you want to keep it safe and keep yourself in check and look after your friends.
Big shout out to Melissa Joy and Kershula and Nye Taylor, Corinda Regan, all out there on the podcast, on the actual live viewing. I hope you're enjoying yourselves on your couch.
Big shout out to the COVID couch commentators who are commentating to their cats, their puppies,
That's
their
right.
birds.
Yelling at their television, getting cops called on them for noise complaints.
And a big kia ora to all those Kiwis in Aotearoa. Mad respect. Love you all. And we've already got Rocket Man, who is boosting the rockets out onto turn 2. Ready to take this 5 minutes by the hand and drive forward.
Rocket Man Outside. Fancy footwork, but not fancy enough. Getting pushed on out through the outside and having to reform behind the pack.
And Fatality's looking for a little bit of friend support there to get out. And that's an excellent call off there by the jam ref. Nice, crisp and clear. Always love to have a nice, beautiful
still standing,
hand
I see.
movements and gestures. Yeah,
Yep.
Skatespear's still
Clear,
standing. If
clear
you had the
signalling.
first half on your bingo card, I'm sorry. You'll need to hold on to that drink
Yep.
a little bit longer.
That's right. We've only got 4 more minutes to make that good, and we're not tripping him up, not like last time.
I'm not throwing any stones on that
No.
track. I felt that before, and it's not fun.
Skatriarchy up against number 87.
Guns
That's
and
Guns and
Bruises.
Bruises.
This looks like a new jammer to the pool. We'll be interested to see how they go. Could be a nice, refreshing start for Perth.
Noisy, of course, one of their blockers here in BCR, a formidable foe.
Yeah, and it even looks like number 1 for Thunderpuss is really driving that butt into the jammer. It's definitely not a pleasant thing having someone's upper body in front of you and their butt behind you. It doesn't
Yeah.
give you many options.
Thunderpuss also was actually quite pivotal in their game against you earlier on as well. Little unsung hero.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting secondary impacts just looking at it. There has been a star pass executed by the Perth jammer, so number 328.
Peacock.
Skatriarchy has returned to the track. And a beautiful out of play being called there by the pack ref. Nice and clear.
Skatriarchy putting 4 more points on the board.
Looking like they're ready to do a few more with the concentration on their face. And we've got a cut track penalty going to the Perth Jammers. This is not a good outcome for them.
Really give Skatriarchy the room that they need to be able to put these points on the board. 20 seconds left in this jam clock.
That does mean that regardless of if Skatriarchy wants to continue or not, that jammer will stay in the box.
Yep.
And that's why when we saw some of the blockers and jammers hustling to the box, that it's so important because you're really chewing up that game time as you're skating to the box as well. So it's not just the 30 seconds that you're using in the box, it's also the time that you take to get there.
Yeah, it is good when they race to get to the box and do their time as quick as possible.
But safely.
That's right.
Yes.
We don't want to see them bolt through across the track, taking out Shakespeare and wrecking the whole game.
Well, look, bonus points if that happens, but I think the likelihood of that happening is very unlikely.
No, that's true.
We also love our penalty box officials, and we want to make sure that they can keep their legs.
That's true. And it's only the start of the weekend for this massive weekend of roller derby, so we don't want to take out our key officials only on the first day.
And Bad Reality has already got lead and is ready to do their second pass. The Perth 3 wall is ready, though. Let's see how they hold up against that turn 1.
Wow, look at the strength there by 328 Peacock, moving that entire 3 wall of BCR.
There is some offense coming in, though, by the previous Guns and Bruises, who was the jammer in the previous jam. It looks like those two are buddies.
To number 56, which is Boop.
So do you call that a double star pass?
I think so.
And the jam has been called off. I almost wasn't sure for a minute whether that was us or someone else.
I know, it was crazy whistles. So that is the end of the first half. We're on a score of 103 to 37. That means we've got a
looks like Brisbane's gearing up for one more jam. We might
Why
have
not?
one more. Scarebear's saying, yep, I want one more jam. Give me that.
Give me a crack.
Give me a go.
And Namazoon is the player to try and have a crack to put some points on the board before the half. But it is all coming up Rocket Man. But tell that to Namazoon because they're not going to let a little thing like Rocket Man take this one away without being unanswered.
And that was a great pass on the inside line. Definitely going NASCAR styles when you're trying to push really hard on that line until they get that opening. And it does prove also that Scare Bear was very ready for that offense at the start.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we've got ourselves a 15-minute break, so go grab yourself a drink or go to the bathroom or do whatever you got to do. Feed the dogs, turn off the boiling water for the potatoes so that you can come back and watch some more roller derby with me and Pavey.
Yeah, so I did see that, Karinja, you're looking to get an update on Kimbo, so we'll ask around at the halftime. We'll see what's going on there, and we'll come back to you once we've got a little bit more information for that. We are sending them lots of love and sending everyone who might be at home nursing a derby injury as well. Lots of love to you and speedy recoveries.
A hangover counts as a derby injury, right?
What's that?
A hangover counts as a derby injury,
Oh,
right?
that's the same.
Because I think I've had 2 of those today.
Like, it genuinely is a real thing, and it's actually extremely cool. As in cool? Yes. And cool as in awesome. It's genuinely, I looked it up, it's genuinely, like, proven to aid recovery, muscle recovery, soft tissue recovery, after exertion. So if you're feeling a little bit tuck it out after one of your matches and you've got another one coming up, head over to Peak Conditioning and Coaching to get your legs squeezed. Yeah, or it's like a big hug for your leg. Honestly, yeah. We've also got Odyssey Health Practices who are doing massages, $10 for 10 minutes, $20 for 20 minutes. I think we can infer that it's there for $30 for 30 minutes. Ask them, probably ask them. But, you know, go get your sore body parts looked by a professional who knows what they're doing, and not your teammate that grabs to do it with, like, snakes, lolly snakes. I will be hitting after my back tomorrow. Definitely will. Absolutely. All right, everybody, it's mission time. We're going to stop talking for a little bit, have some music, have some fun. I'll be back with the second half of Brisbane City Rollers versus Perth Roller Derby very shortly. Test. test. We're back. I promise I will say test as little as possible. All right, just ahead of restarting this incredibly great day.
And welcome back. I hope you've done everything you needed to, because this next half is going to be killer. I've overheard Perth talking about new tactics that they were going to employ, and we'll see how that pans out. Did we get any word back on Kimbo Kazi?
Yes, we did actually. I had a bit of a chat to the Brisbane City Rollers bench, and they mentioned that Kimbo's doing well. It looks like they may have potentially rolled something or may have fallen in a strange way. So I don't think it's likely that we will see Kimbo in the second half, which is a shame because she was doing a great job, but it's something that does happen in roller derby. We all kind of accept that as part of playing the game. So giving all the healing vibes to them.
Yeah, nobody likes being injured, but it is in a full contact situation. Always going to happen, unfortunately. We just try and play the most safest derby that we can and minimise those incidents. I hate a twisted ankle. Twisted ankles are the worst.
Look, I mean, I've had a few interesting things in my time, but I must say the one that's probably the most awkward I've had is my ACL, which kind of starts from like the inside of your like ankle and goes all the way up to like the top of your knee. There's nothing more awkward than that beyond like actually becoming a bionic person.
Yeah, that's full on.
Yeah, it's something that you don't notice until you start like juking to the side or leaning to one side, and then the pain just like shoots all the way down. But I mean, let's talk about fun stuff. Let's talk about roller derby.
Yeah.
It looks like we've already got a whole suite of jammers and blockers there out on the line. We've got a Rocket Ma'am and a Fatality there looking to kick off the second half. This is really going to be an interesting time to see whether Perth can start to close that gap.
Fatality having a good game so far, so hopefully we can see Fatality really pull out some stops here. Rocket Ma'am, however, in this circumstance, is lead jammer for BCR, first one out of the gate.
And I did see Rocket Ma'am did almost like a little micro apex jump there. So, I mean, for those playing at home, if you had a micro apex jump, that is on the board. We have got one Brisbane blocker, that's number 2.
Now Fatality stashed the helmet cover, but has put it back on.
And Bloody Laces is sitting in the penalty box having a little bit of a nap, and we'll start there for the second jam of the second half.
Well, that was really good to see because Perth did manage to get those 4 points in there. Oh no.
It's a little bit hard for us to see the points right now.
Our accessibility to the points has been cut off.
Our view has been obstructed. While that's happening, though, I did want to give a little bit of respect to the Brisbane bench crew. They've got some fantastic outfits on today. We've got a red and black pinafore and a zombie jumper going on
Definitely one of the
here.
well-dressed benches here.
And the next jam is underway. Skatriarchy is driving out on the inside line for the Brisbane team. And we also have the Perth jammer driving up the front. It does look like that could be Jammy Dodgem. No, it's Namazoon. That's right, it's Namazoon. And they have managed to get lead. This could be the chance that Perth have been looking for.
Look, I know Namazoon has been itching to put a large score on the board. They've been playing a fantastic game so far, and I think well-deserved to get a nice big jam in there.
Yeah, that speed skater stride with the swing of the arms is really paying off Namazoon's confidence and getting some points on the board. Does look like there's a little bit of a flapping celebration going on there.
Bloody Laces. Bloody Laces. I really like Bloody Laces names because, you know, it could be just the Australian, Bloody Laces, or you know.
Is there an Australian thing like Bloody Laces, or is it just like bloody everything?
Bloody everything, yeah. It's bloody everything. Oh, bloody everything. But especially when Bloody Laces gets the star pass to her, you're kind of like, Bloody Laces has got the star pass again.
Wow, it looks like there is a running start up there at the top. That's our number 4 for Brisbane. That's Bad Reality.
Bad Reality doing a lot of fancy footwork at the front. Jamie Dodger, however, is out of the pack now. Looking to shake off a last jam where she had real trouble with these blockers.
We do have a very arms in the air call-off. Looking at different styles of call-offs there, we've had a lot of little taps, and now we're starting to get a little bit bigger with our arm movements. It is worth noting as well that the jam ref crews for each game would have been swapped now, so the jammers will have a different referee as their key referee for this half. Be interested to see whether that makes any impact. It doesn't look like presently that is much of a change.
You wouldn't want it to, I don't think.
It is a real challenge for the officiating crew to have a lot of consistency without them. I mean, they're not robots, they're people.
Definitely people. We have confirmed that.
And they all come from lots of different leagues around the Pacific, and so they all see different things and can experience
everyone plays
differently.
And I find at TGSS you see some calls that you just haven't seen in ages, just because everyone's play styles are so differently, and they're all coming together in a big melting pot.
Oh, definitely. And the Perth Jammer has called it off. That's fatality. Let's see, they've got some 4 points in that pass. That's a great start to get them pushing out. It does look like it's gone to Brisbane though, so I'm just going to have a look at what's happening there. And they are confirming that yes, it is a 4-0 jam to Brisbane, so I was just not observant enough with what was going on. Oh no, here we are. No,
yeah,
it was 4-all.
Yeah, I thought there was 4 fingers up there for Perth. Namazoom, sorry. Really?
Namazoom's going for the juke and the run. And it is effective.
Really quick on their feet and just jumping around. Oh, cut track.
And Namazoom used juke. It was cutting the track.
Oh, I must admit I did miss that. Was that on the inside track, was it?
Oh, look, I'm not sure, but sometimes what happens, particularly with those larger movements, is your whole skate and toe stop goes over the line and back in, and you just have no idea that that's even happened.
Yeah.
You don't feel it. You're over the rope. You didn't even touch the rope. It does look like Skatriaki is just having a really challenging time pushing through.
A double shake of the head. Skatriaki is definitely not happy.
They might be taking quite a few big hits or swoops to the side, and they have Brisbane team have relied on Skatriaki quite a lot in the first half of this game, and so they're probably thinking, how do I keep my mental game in check? How do I continue to focus on doing excellent stuff?
Yeah. Look, the Skatriaki took in a swipe, jammer. Skatriaki seems a little puffed. But Namazoom looks like they could go for a whole other game after this one.
It does really look like the almost like the energy between those two jammers is just completely opposite.
Chalk and cheese. The Skatriaki is just struggling right now, but it's like every time a Namazoom goes around, they get so supercharged, like the next lap is half the speed, twice the speed.
Which is interesting because Namazoom has now got the second cutting the track penalty, but is still enthusiastic about playing the game.
It's crazy.
I mean, there's a lot of respect to go in there when you've got to keep your head in check and got to keep your mental game in check, and you go, what? You know what? Roller derby's for fun, right?
Exactly.
We do this for fun.
Yeah, just bring it on. Got more? I got more. Let's go.
Yeah, got more gas in the tank. Fill me up.
Exactly.
Let me run.
Let me back in, coach.
Yeah, put me in, coach. Put me in. Looks like there's a couple of pivot panties being thrown around in the Brisbane track. I'll be interested to see whether Brisbane are going to take this and slow it down a little bit. Oh, and an official timeout is being called. Looks like some officials on the inside of the track are just having a little bit of a conversation. They might be looking to the Brisbane City Rollers box. There's a conversation being had.
Number 88 was raring to get in there, Speed Angel. Haven't seen her on the jam line yet, but she was like, what are you doing? I want in. Let me in.
Put me in, coach. Put me in.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Yeah, it does look like Brisbane City Rollers are having a chat to Skatriarchy. They may be potentially just getting a warning on this round. There is they are putting their panty back on, and they will likely be sent to the box. So that does mean that Brisbane will be starting with a down start. It looks like it was some sort of altercation that happened in turn 3 when we saw both Jamie and Skatriarchy kind of hitting someone, coming in front of the other, falling down, waiting for the other to re-enter. Likely it might have been either a cutting the track penalty or something that happened in that pack before. I'm not really certain on that one.
There definitely seemed to be an extra layer of emotions flying around out there in that last jam, so not too sure if we will find out all the intricacies behind that, but as we start, Skatriarchy is only just now rejoining the team after going to the penalty.
And Namazoom has just taken a whip off Doherty, who also used that time to go to the penalty box. What a way to utilise a player just before they go. Namazoom's really getting excited on that track.
I love it. I love a good shouting out all your energy. It's like there's more where that came from, just clearing the table.
Well, to be fair, sometimes you have so much built in, you just need to let it out just to calm down, you know?
Yeah, just to let it out so it's not sitting inside you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all those emotions when you put them in a bottle for so long and the bottle's full, and what do? You drink it, right? Especially
when you've got more water coming out to fill that bottle for another round. It seems like the Perth team have a lot of energy, and it's sustained energy. Just happy to be here, having a good time, I think.
And Guns and Bruises is out there again for the Perth team. They have taken the panty star off. I'll be interested to see whether that's a pass. There is a whistle being blown for the Brisbane Jammer. They don't seem to be giving us a hand signal on what that is. There just seems to be a lot of discussion going on. Oh, and that's now an insubordination as well. So that means that they're actually going to be sitting there for a minute.
And that is not what Bad Reality wanted there. I don't think she was very sure of what was happening.
It does mean that Perth now have the opportunity to get that 60 points.
Exactly.
So if they want to start with maybe a nice 20 or a nice 30, this is a good time to do that. Cut some laps. It's also a great opportunity if some of those inventors out there have created that hoverboard yet. This is a good chance to ride the hoverboard to just get over the pack.
Yeah. Some people jump the apex. I think jump the entire defensive pack. It's the only way to be sure.
Well, look, I mean, if you can do that cleanly, you're away laughing.
Yep.
Who needs paving? I mean, if you got a hoverboard.
That's all you need in roller derby. Hover skates.
It does look like Guns and Bruises is having a bit of a tough time there on turn 3. The Brisbane Jammer has now...
Nice nudge there. Not enough to knock Bad Reality out, but certainly enough to stop her coming around. That was Boop. Adequately named blocker, Boop.
It does look like Guns and Bruises is now going to the penalty box. They do appear to be favouring one side. I'll be interested to see whether they've just perhaps corked something or managed to get a very sore side. Doherty has now ended up at the back of the pack, creating a backpack. And that jam, there was a lot happening.
And 2 jams back-to-back then where there was a lot of subtext happening in those 2 jams.
Yeah, and I mean, even some of the calls that are happening now, it seems that there's almost 2 calls trying to be made at the same time. There's just so much going on. Yeah, and it does look like an official review has now been called, which means that maybe everyone realises that the intensity or the energy has changed.
Yep.
We all just need to sit down, have our little blankie, turn the heater on.
I saw someone with cocktails and margaritas out there before on a fold-out chair, and I'm like, that's the ticket. Frozen margaritas, that's the way to watch roller derby right there. That'll keep you calm.
Well, there is also a massage station here at the tournament.
$1 a minute.
And they have they almost look like mummy trousers.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like you know how you get those like vibrator guns that like massage your like shoulders?
Yep.
They have these like trousers that kind of like massage your legs.
Trousers.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, but someone was sitting there before and they had a beer in one hand, massage trousers on, lying down, just having a great time.
Is that $1 a minute for the massage trousers?
I don't know. I haven't asked. I just don't know whether
Why would you put them into trousers unless that your intention was to walk around with them?
Well, I mean, they had little booties, but I'm not sure if they're for walking or for lying.
Oh, that is a funny thing. Maybe so you can get full 360 massaging ability inside the pan.
I don't think you'd even know what was being massaged anymore. You'd just be constantly vibrating.
That's right. Might as well plug your bones in at that point.
Oh, and we do have a power jam start there for Brisbane. Does look like there's a forearms penalty being called. It might be on the jammer.
That's 88 for Brisbane City Rollers, and that's Speed Angel, who didn't get to jam just before.
Yeah, so the forearms penalty is being called, and now an insubordination is being called. So that's another double penalty. While that has been happening, the pack have even got their own multiplayer, so there's a lot of action going on right now. Does mean that the power jam has now switched to be the Perth jammer, which is fatality.
Yeah. Look, two insubordinations in two jams here. They're going to be feeling a little rattled, the old BCR.
Yeah, and I mean, it does definitely affect you quite a bit when you realise, oh, that was me.
Yeah.
And now I have to sit here because I didn't know at that time what was going on. And most of the time, I don't think that they're doing it on purpose. I think they more just can't hear what's happening.
Exactly. They should change that penalty to the couldn't hear penalty, and it's only half as much. Insubordination seems so, like an attack.
It's like, you're naughty, but you're really naughty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not obeying the rules.
And while we're talking about penalties, we're now dishing them out here in the commentator stand, which means a cutting the track penalty has been issued to the Perth Jammer fatality.
That's right.
Looks like the Brisbane Jammer was standing at that time, so it's likely that the Perth Jammer will be there for at least 20 seconds, which does give quite a bit of time to be able to drive out that wall.
Well, and of course you can't have two jammers in the penalty box because it would make for a very boring roller derby with no jammers, everyone just waiting around.
Look, I mean, I think you just have to add a new rule, which is that there's a dance break.
That's right, everyone has to dance if there's two jams in the penalty box.
And the jam has been called. It looks like there's an additional 4 points there for Perth. That does mean that it is a 8-0 score for Perth, which is exactly what we need. I mean, it's not the 30 points that I was hoping for, but it's definitely a move in the right direction. Very excited. Namazoom is there next to Rocket Man on the track, getting set up for the next jam.
See, I see Rocket Man and Namazoom as very similar sort of style of skater.
They do have quite a similar build, and I think that definitely plays a part in their jamming style. I mean, some things are going to work better for you depending on your size and your stature.
That's true. But it is coming up, all Rocket Man. She's playing it safe. I thought she might have been all right, but I think it's wise just to go back and double check.
Well, it's definitely one thing as well that if you do a big side jump, sometimes you accidentally take yourself out.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a case of one of those. The opportunity that Rocket Man had with two blockers has now ceded, which means that there are 4 Perth blockers back on the track to deal with. We'll be interested to see how Brisbane respond to that. And they've responded with a cutting the track penalty. So Rocket Man is going to the penalty box. I mean, we did say at the start of the game it was going to be interesting in regards to energy levels, and we're definitely seeing now that from both sides, penalties are playing a big factor.
They are definitely increasing thick and fast here, especially jammer penalties.
And Namazoom has executed the pavey dip, which I'm so excited to see. It's fantastic to see people dipping the beam underneath blockers, and it's always so satisfying to watch.
That's right, and if you're playing at home and have the pavey dip, don't forget to have yourself a drink.
And I just saw there that one of the Perth blockers managed to fall over, but fall on top of the other Perth blocker so that they fell down like a slide.
Rigged.
And that just looks like it was a fun time. Rocketman has returned from the penalty box, and Namazoom is continuously pushing against that Brisbane 2 wall at the front. They are getting some offense, which has helped them to get through.
4 points on the board for Namazoom.
And that's a big nod of the head for Maureen there as well. So that was a nice, clean pass. And the jam has come to a natural conclusion. Once again, a lot more action going on in the penalty box. It seems like it's getting warm seats and warm bums. That means that we now have a 4-8 jam with Perth taking the 8 points there. We are slowly inching closer to the game, but we're looking at a little shy of a 60-point differential here.
Oh, exactly 60 points.
Oh, my math is great. Excuse me while I hair flick. So it does look like we're having a bit of a stoppage here. It could be, it is potentially a timeout.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, we do have a BCR team timeout being used at the moment.
Yeah,
with 14 minutes left in this game, a bit of consolidation at this point by both the two teams is probably well in order.
So there have been a few questions just on the live chat whether the refs aren't being heard. It is quite challenging, even when you're on the track, to hear the refs. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of those insubordinations are just because they couldn't hear what was going on from that particular official.
Yeah, and you can see it on their faces sometimes when they get sent off for that insubordination, and they're honestly like, what are you talking about? I didn't know what was going on. And then when the ref stamps their foot, and then it's all over from there.
All right, so that wraps up the timeout here. This is a great opportunity for Brisbane City to now, what I would call, calm the farm. Bring all the animals down to a quiet
patented Pavey
state.
calm the farm technique.
And it does look like everyone has started to chill out a little bit in regards to the intensity. I'll be interested to see whether that maintains as we slowly inch closer to quarter four now.
Well, you do want to do that reset because it's much better playing out of an action state rather than a reaction state, because you don't get the same sort of ability to think about what you're doing with the same, reflect on your decision-making skills when you're just reacting.
Yeah, well, I mean, roller derby is a game of control, and it's a game of who can actually take the ownership and control of the pack. If you can do that, you're able to execute the strategies that you want rather than the other team.
Exactly, and when it starts rocketing out of control like that, and both teams start getting worked up, then it gets really messy really quickly, and I'm glad they've managed to bring it and tone it right down and bring it back into that control sphere.
And with that in mind, Jamie Dodger is having a little bit of a hard time there against Brisbane blocker, 1-4 Thunderpuss, who's once again really establishing dominance on that inside line.
Oh, manages to find it though. 4 points on the board for Jamie Dodger. Skatriarchy struggling a little here with number 31 Molitov for Perth and being sent off again.
Yeah, that one was for a high block. It looks like it may have been unintentional, but did unfortunately happen, so they have been taken to the penalty box.
Rules are rules. I wonder how many penalties Skatriarchy's sitting on at this juncture.
Oh, I reckon at least 3, maybe 4. We also got Jamie did the hand flap call off, so if at home you're looking for the my hands are wet call off, that was the execution of that jam call off. It does mean that Perth are going to start with a power start, so Fatality is going to take the pleasure of executing the jam start.
It's just about time for that 30-point jam we were talking about, and let's go for it, Fatality.
And that was a great start. They were already out and turning into turn 4. And that was another beautiful outside line. The outside pack refs are saying, yep, that was beautiful, keep going.
Yep, but then they've had a chance now to reform around Fatality. She's struggling.
Skatriarchy are calming themselves to be able to enter a 3-wall by themselves, really driving through to hold that wall. A big shout out with all those friends out there, Nicole and Melissa cheering on Faye. Faye's been having a great game today.
Faye has thighs of steel, which makes it really hard for her to go through the airport without getting hassled.
And that was some great outside pivoting there by Faye to get some more 4-point jams. So that brings that total to 8 points just for Perth, and known for Brisbane at that time. That's a great start to be able to continue to close that gap.
Well, you don't need 30-point jams if you've got consistent 8-point jams.
That's right. And we also remember that points differential does matter in this tournament. So the closer that they can close that gap, the more likely they are to be able to get closer to that quarterfinal or that semi-final game.
Bad Reality looking to find a gap there in the middle, but really just meeting more Perth blockers and pushing through eventually.
And we have got the Brisbane City Rollers, Bad Reality, taking the lead. I did want to make a moment just to talk about Odyssey Health Practices, who offer cheap massages all weekend. They include the vibrating pants that we were talking about earlier. So they're $10 for 10 minutes, $20 for 20 minutes. Definitely get your jumpy pants with the little booties on. And that's another great outside turn for Bad Reality, who is now calling off the jam with style, taking the mad flap approach, and that brings the points to potentially 8 points. Yeah, so now we've just matched back to what we had 2 jams ago.
Didn't someone tell BCR that Perth were trying to gradually work their way back up? They're just going to really put a spanner in the works.
Yeah, it's kind of like the equivalent of when you almost give a child a lollipop and then take it away and then wonder why they're crying.
I did that just before. It's weird that you mentioned that. That is Rocket Ma'am with the lead jammer finger in the sky. But this looks like Namazoom, and it is.
And we have another call-off by Rocket Man. It looks like everyone's getting to the stage where they could have a nice long nap with one of our sponsors, Quest King William South Accommodation Partner. They will be hosting quite a few of our skaters tonight. A lot of them also will be going to the after party. We were just talking about that earlier, which is a space theme. Make sure you've got your outfits going. You can play at home as well. Bring your outfits, jump around, play some music.
Pretend you're here having an even better time.
Does look like that's a high block going to fatality. So the action and the intensity has increased again. Getting ready for that last 8 minutes of the game. Bad Reality's realised, oh, yep, it is a power jam. All right, I'll keep going. While Noisy is encouraging the team to continually stay calm and continue to calm that farm. Quiet on the farm. All cows were sleeping.
Biggest little farm. Everything working in synergy. Bad Reality, 4 points on the board.
And this
cool as a cucumber.
This is the kind of time where you do need to stay cool as a cucumber. You just take a breath and be like, I've got this. I don't need to, push too hard here. No. I've got 3 more games potentially this weekend, and it's time for me to look at taking my time.
And a good solid jam there from Bad Reality.
So we do have one of our diamond sponsors, Skate Society, here with us as one of the key skate shops here at the Great Southern Stand. So Skate Society is a South Australian family-owned and run full-service skate shop. They pride themselves in providing exceptional customer service and having one of the largest range of skate products in Australia, both in-store and online, as well as having skaters in-store, which means that they can not only provide products that you need, but first-hand experience of using them. Their massive product ranges include roller skates, inline, skateboards, protective gear, wheelie shoes, fun stuff, maybe those sparkly shoes, I'm not sure, and any spare parts that you need for your gear. I mean, your gear setup is important, and it's something that some people really drive home about changing their wheels depending on what track they're on, and then there's others like myself who just, Poison's the one wheel brand. It's all I ever wear. There's no change. Poisons are my life. And I'm happy with
If
that.
you know what you like, might as well stick with it.
Exactly. Why change when I know how these ones work?
Exactly.
And I mean, I've probably had this wheel brand for like 5 or 6 years now. It's not even like I've dramatically changed.
No, that's dedication right there.
I mean, the only thing I potentially changed is they now have 4 colours.
Well,
So if I wanted green one day and purple another, I'm sorted.
you can shake it up.
And with skates in mind, it does look like we've both got Rocket Mam and Jamie Dodgem pushing through towards the start line.
Jamie Dodger and Rocket Man. Jamie Dodger looked like she was going to break through there, but she's just been met with BCR's toughest.
And that was a great blocking there by number 56 from Perth, Boop. Boop was doing some great boops on the inside and outside line to try and hold Rocket Man to the particular lines and keep them off the track.
Boop has been playing a really good game out there today.
And there has been a star pass to Doherty. Doherty is first receiving the star pass for this game.
Oh, called it off.
Oh, and there was a potential call-off by Rocket Man, but unfortunately they have a cutting the track penalty, which means that Doherty's got to keep pushing on. First time that they're jamming for this game, and they're taking the full 2 minutes. There are 2 blockers from Brisbane that are on the track. There is one about to emerge there at the back as well.
4 more points for Doherty.
And let's all take a moment to acknowledge that Skatespare still has not fallen over yet.
That
and there are
true.
only 6 minutes left in the game. Is this the game that he might be able to pull through?
His final breakthrough standing up game.
Rocket Man has returned from the penalty box. Looks like that has swapped with a Perth blocker, which means that they've only got 3 to contend with. But remember that one of those is Boop, who has been really holding that outside line.
And look, 313 Storm as well. Got a big shout out for Storm. Storm's been playing a fantastic game out there today as well. Really strong, key pivotal player in that Perth defence.
And that was a really great hit there from Storm on the inside line to hold Rocket Man. Poor Rocket Man's getting a little bit beaten up here by the Perth team. And you can tell by her face that she just feels like she's a bit hard done by there. That was a tough jam for Rocket Man.
Well, it is ironic that the smallest player has to go up against usually the 3 sort of toughest, biggest players, you know?
Yeah, well, I feel like, particularly when I started jamming, that's why I got guns.
Yeah, good idea.
I felt like I had to build up my muscle to be able to drive out those walls, because otherwise, as you said, like there are moments where you have 3 people and you literally have to push. If you say each of them is approximately 60 to 70 kgs, that's around 200 kilos that you have to push. And when you do that math, you're like, well, hang on. The highest level weightlifters normally lift about 120, 150. And we're asking people on wheelie shoes to drive over 200 kilos. Like that is a bit of a hard ask.
Yeah, but look, if you want to make it in this jamming world, you've got to break some world records.
Yeah, so when you're a small team, small jammer, running away, juking, hiding, tricking people is the way to go.
Seems safer than slamming onto a wall of blocking superheroes.
That's right. And I mean, jamming, half of it, in my opinion, is juking.
Yeah.
The more jukes that you can do, the more you can psych out other players, the less you get touched, and the more you can run away and giggle.
Oh, absolutely. A good pass is one where you don't have to lose a limb doing it.
That's right. The more laps you can do on that hoverboard, the more you're going to get. And with that in mind, it does look like we have a power start for the Brisbane
Speedy
team.
Angel.
Does look like we haven't seen Speed Angel out too often for the Brisbane team, so this might be one of her first jams here. It's pretty exciting to see Brisbane introduce a deeper rotation of blockers and jammers into their team. And Doherty has returned from the penalty box as a jammer this time rather than a pivot. It means that a new pivot has been put into the Perth team.
It's something different about the way that a pivot jams.
And as we said, it's more the push and the drive rather than the juke and run away. It does look like Doherty's gone back to the penalty box, and they're not happy about it.
No.
Doherty's got the token grumpy face, or grumpy cat face going on there. Which does mean the jam goes on.
The show must go on.
Speed Angel is still driving, still going through each of those walls, and this does not bode well for Perth. I mean, we were hoping that they'd be able to bring it closer together. It's looking like it's becoming more challenging by the minute.
There's only 3.5 minutes left in this game, so I mean, I struggle to see how Perth's going to bring it back at this juncture. But a couple of 70-point jams, and anyone's jam.
We're looking at this Perth makeup, and they are doing a great job of just holding Speed Angel to a lower differential. This is Speed Angel's second pass, and we've only got 15 seconds left on the clock. So that's a pretty excellent defense there to be able to hold them for that long. Speed does look like they're ready to go back to the quest tonight and have a little bit of a nap.
And that's the jam.
It does
2
look
minutes,
like
46 seconds on the clock.
Doherty is standing in the penalty box. I'm not sure whether they've actually reached their 7 penalties and that it's time to actually release them. It does look like they're taking the star off and have been subbed in for someone else. So that's likely that they have fouled out.
Fouled out.
Back to the quest goes Doherty. And we've got another number 88 is serving for them. So Thorsten will be serving that penalty.
A lot of whistles going on, a bit of confusion.
Yeah, I believe what might have happened is I don't believe Thorsten is actually sitting as a jammer, and they may need to, which is why that jam has been called dead. But I'm just making a hypothetical theory here, so who knows? Yeah, no, that does look right. So it looks like Jim Peckable, the official there, is asking for Thorsten to serve as a jammer, which means that they are subbing in a new person. There is a conversation being had with the referee and the penalty timer. Oh no, they are serving 2 penalties instead. So the captain, Thorsten, is going to serve 2 penalties.
Taking one for the team.
My theory was completely inaccurate, but close enough.
Yeah.
That does mean that Namazoom, though, does get to start the jam with 1 player down, while Brisbane get to start up. So Namazoom's going to need that enthusiasm that we saw earlier to really scream and shout across that Brisbane pack.
Yeah. And with just 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in it, Namazoom's going to really want to utilise this time left to scream the Blue Murder and get some action out there.
Now is a great time just to note that Against the Green is one of our media partners here for the Great Southern Slam. They offer specialised publicity, PR and marketing services to Australian arts, music and lifestyle industries. We can confirm that they're pretty good at their jobs, and it's a pleasure to work with them. So thanks. The officials are having a conversation. It does look like there's a few things going on that they might be talking about. Another Perth blocker is having a chat to the penalty box. It looks like they've swapped out Thorsten, and now they're putting in another blocker. It looks like Thorsten might be leaving the bench area as well, so there might have potentially been 2 foul outs. Or I'm just making stuff up. No, I'm not making stuff up. Thorsten has left the game. So that means 2 Perth blockers have been fouled out. And that's interesting, considering the first half of the game did look like Brisbane were taking more of the penalties. So it looks like it has now swung in the other direction for Perth in the second half. For those playing at home, we do have a few people right next to the cameras in your live feed with some supporting signs for each of the teams. We've got a Lodgy and a Jamie Dodge over there. I'm sure there's lots of friends and family that are all here to support each other as well. Everyone loves a good mum and dad there to cheer you on.
Not the bad mum and dads, though. We don't like them. Good
I don't know,
ones.
depends what kind of bad mum and dad you're talking about.
They're at the bar.
There's
having
the
a good
ones
old
that just
time.
wear like the really sparkly outfit and you're like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, why did you wear the blue bow tie
He
today?
said it was only for home.
Okay, it does look like now we're doing some track maintenance. Now that we have swapped out Thorsten and we've got a new blocker for Perth in the box, everyone seems to be happy with that setup. It does mean that they've had to issue another captain as well, so I believe that has happened now too, and the officials will be starting to set up that jam. So just to wrap up a few things that happened, initially we had Doherty who fouled out, then Thorsten has fouled out, and now we've got number 31 in there to serve the final penalty there for Perth, and hopefully then we can come back to have the last 2 minutes of the jam with Rocket Man and Namazoom.
Yeah, that's 31 Molly Tov taking one for the team.
And that was an excellent toast-up run there by Namazoom, but not quite enough to bring them out to the top. Rocket Man is driving that last line of defense. They are successful. Looks like a forearms penalty is being called on another Perth blocker. That means they've only got 2 on the track. Namazoom has taken the penalty cover off and is driving that 3-wall. It does look like the pivot's in the box though, so they're not going to get much action from that. Now we need the Namazoom speed arms to be able to drive forward and get that intensity. Looks like Rocket Man's going to run that, or I might be just completely making that up. No, they are continuing, so that's 2 blockers there on the track that they're passing. Rocket Man is pointing to the box going, what would you like me to do? Brisbane's saying, just do whatever you feel like, and that is to call it off.
You'll have to call it off some stage. And with 1 minute and 18 seconds left, seems like as good a time as any.
And it does look like we still have one Perth blocker in the box. They are not having a great ending to this game. And we've got one Brisbane in the box as well, so that means that we're going to start with a 3-3 on each blocker's start. A nice even start for each team.
And Bad Reality up against Fatality. It's the Alities together again in this great matchup. Perfect way to finish it off. Fatality lead jammer, does hit the sack, but gets straight back up, which is great.
There are a few whistles blowing, and that is the Brisbane blocker. They're going to the box.
30 seconds left on the period clock, so we are quite potentially seeing the last jam. And given that Perth have control of it, they're probably going to want to see this sort of go out so they can get the most out of the last minute 25 on the jam clock.
Yeah, it looks like Bad Reality is just going to do the best that they can with the final moments. All of the skaters are now starting to set up a line at the bench to cheer on their teammates.
And BCR very happy coming into this. Points differentials matter, and Fatality's well aware that looking to put some on before the end of this game. But you know what? Bad Reality is also their matching point for point, so they're just going to end up in a very similar boat.
So really, we're just cutting laps together.
They are.
We're just going to score some points. You're going to score some points. I'm going to score some points.
Everyone
and then together,
has points.
Everyone gets some points. And it looks like there's a bit of whistle bleed from another pack, so everyone looks a little bit confused, but the jam is still
on. There goes Bad
on.
Reality, so that means it's going to be the full jam.
And Faye just did the great arm sweep to go, oh gosh, darn it. Bad Reality does look very intent on getting out of that pack. There is only 20 seconds left, so they do have the choice whether they want to get those final points or to just play it cool.
Bad Reality calling to her team, telling them to move forward.
Yeah, the old go signal is going strong.
Yep. 1 second, and that is the unofficial score.
So congratulations to Skatespear, who I believe has not fallen over in this game.
Good on him. So if you had, I mean, I don't know anyone who would have had no times, but have a drink now if you did manage to pull that one out of the hat.
And a nice acknowledgement to both Brisbane City Rollers and Perth Roller Derby for putting on a great game this evening. I'm sure both of them are going to have a nice long nap have a great dinner and a bit of a chant and pump each other up.
And know that they've played the best game that they all could have done today, and they've had a really wonderful time and a really great matchup to see these two teams go against each other tonight.
Yeah, we've definitely seen Perth have a little bit of penalty trouble at the end, which may have impacted a bit of it, but they also stayed really strong at the start. So they have some great potential there and a lot of things that they can go home and work on. And Brisbane themselves as well have a lot of things that they can learn based on some of the starts that were going on with this game.
Yeah, I think both teams got a lot to work on and talk about when they get home and look back and think about what's happened today in this match.
Yeah, I mean, well, both of them have more games coming up over the next few days. So I believe that Perth will be playing tomorrow morning. So I'll be facing Perth this time, which will be exciting. So come and watch that. And then Brisbane City, well, they need to just wait to see who they will play tomorrow based on what the matchups are between the Thunder game that's happening right after this.
Oh, right. All right, well, thank you very much out there for tuning in and watching the game. I've been Chief Intent.
And I'm Pavey Wavy.
And you have yourself a lovely rest of the weekend and enjoy the games.
Have a great evening.
Well done, BCR. We will see you tomorrow, both teams. For now, we've got Northern Brisbane Rollers coming up against the Capital Rollers. Stick around. It's going to be a fantastic match. My name's Jackie Quick. I'm Leslie Root. Thank you very much for sticking around. Please now, we're not going to say test anymore. You're free. It's a car. Yeah.